The dynamic is that the calling is calling to the inner spirit of the person, the genius it used to be called. The Greek word was the daimon. There's lots of names for it in different cultures, but it's an essence inside the soul, and it's a spirit essence. That's what the calling is calling to. And since that inner essence, that inborn spirit is unique, then the calling and the pathways can be unique. And that's another reason why I'm trying to open up the territory of imagination and not restrict it to a hero's journey, because that has limits when you look at it. And it also has exclusions that I think are damaging to too many people in culture. All right. So then I want to call it, because it's a really good word, genius. The Greek word is daimon. They're very similar. But genius in the modern world has come to be something that people think they can measure. You can have a genius IQ, or you can have a genius talent for music, or a talent for business or something. But that's not what it means. It doesn't mean something quantifiable. It means something, a quality in a person that defies quantification. So sometimes the genius of a person does turn out to be a bright intellect or a specific talent. But in other people, it's a surpassing capacity for imagination, or an inspired way of innovation. Or, as I mentioned, someone can have the genius of empathy or the genius of compassion. And so I'm imagining the world wants all those different kinds. And right now the world needs all those different variations of genius, because they lead people to places that others won't go. Those who do healing, those who are called to be healers, usually do not live a heroic life. In the modern world, you get surgeons that are at the top of the medical fields and all that kind of stuff. But that's not healing. That's something else. It's medical procedure. Healing is something else. And so the old word for the healers, the real healers, was the wounded healers. And so when someone lives the calling to be a healer, they are in touch with pain all the time. They encounter things that they can't heal. They become humble. They become closer to the earth. They become closer to the sense of compassion, because they feel the pain of other people, and because there's no heroic way to end the pain of people. So the genius can take many forms. And right now, when all kinds of healing, all kinds of innovation, all kinds of invention are needed, we need as many genius awakenings as possible. And I'm suggesting that when the world is in this kind of collapsing shape and in great need, that there's also an acceleration of calling. It's very hard to find satisfaction in a world that is so full of uncertainty and conflict. And so rather than seeking it outside, the idea is you seek it inside. And it's important then to realize inside is this unique genius of each person. And that's what the calling is trying to reach and awaken and inspire. William Blake put it this way: threads of genius and purpose are present in everyone, but may only become visible when something creative is attempted. In other words, we attempt to be creative in our life, we have a much greater possibility of revealing our own genius threads and the purpose of our lives and hearing the call. So Carl Jung put it this way, and this has to do with where do you look for the genius. He said, genius hides behind the wound. So in other words, if you get to the place where a person is wounded, you're actually close to their genius. Genius hides behind the wound. When I am close to in my own wounded state, even though it doesn't feel that way, I'm actually closer to the genius, because genius and the deep wounds of the soul reside together. And that means that, and going back to the question that someone had, answering the call will awaken our genius and stir our wounds. And so the path of awakening involves both becoming more conscious of who we are in our essence and how we are intended to engage life and give to life, but it also puts us on the role of healing. Answering the call puts us on the role of awakening and also on the road of healing. And that's what we're supposed to be doing in this world. I mean, there's all kinds of modern ideas and all kinds of modern opportunities and da-da-da. But the human soul is here to grow and to transform, to awaken and become aware of its own inner nature and learn to live and express and give from that inner essence. That's the old idea. I'm sticking with that one.